Africa has emerged over the past years to be the home of rich cultural values, original arts, ornaments, and wildlife. Its richness in art has made it the engine of the world's artistry and an inspiration of the evolving technology that the current generation is proud of. However, as local demand for traditional items dries up, there are few monuments in Kenya like the African Heritage House, the Nairobi National Museum, and the Kenya National Archives, which still hold some of the ancient African values which people visit to remind themselves of the fast-fading past. As the savior of the traditional African art, Alan Donovan, the co-founder of the African Heritage House, has been collecting original African art, ornaments, and other valuables from all over Africa since 1970s.
Well, I arrived in Africa in 1967, that's 51 years ago. Then I drove across the Congo to Kenya, and I arrived here in 1970. And I went up to northern Kenya. I wanted to see a part of Africa that was not so colonized like Nairobi. So I stayed up there for 3 months. And I was so fascinated about how the Turkana and the other tribes used everything in their environment because they live in a desert. They have very few resources, but they made beautiful things. And I decided to sell my bus and make a collection of all those things.
African Heritage House is located along Mombasa Road in Mlolongo, overlooking the Nairobi National Park. And it is adjacent to the old railway line and the new standard gauge railway, which passes a few meters in front of the house. It is the home of African beauty, since it holds a larger percentage of the African artifacts, designs, paintings, and patterns, both in the interior and the exterior. The house itself is based on the mud architecture of Africa. One of its sides is based on the Inyas Palace of the northern Nigeria, and the front side overlooking the park is based on the Grand Mosque of the Sahara Desert in Mali at Djenné and Timbuktu. The house is surrounded by natural vegetation and has a pool house whose design is based on Lamu houses from coastal region of Kenya. The artworks around this environment hold with them the great meaning and importance to the communities of origin. Around the pool, there are sculptures made of iron. The casted crane at the end of the pool signifies the border of Uganda, and it is featured in the flag of Uganda. The big blue wooden artwork overlooking the pool was made by oldest sculptor of East Africa, Francis Naganda, who also made the large stone mother and child at the National Museums of Kenya. Through the window of the pool changing room, there is animal drawings done by an Asian artist who had love for animals. At the fish pond in front of the house, there is a sculpture called Negotiations, with money changing hands from man to a woman for certain reasons. On the other side is a bronze sculpture which is a copy of 14th century hornblower of the king of the old city of Benin in West Africa. The house post standing at the side of the veranda is from northern Cameroon. The post was in the original Heritage Gallery in Kenyatta Avenue in Nairobi since 1972, before it was moved to this place a few years later. In the interior of the house, there is a large aluminium panel hanging on the wall made by a blacksmith from northern Nigeria. It tells a story of a four-breasted lady who had an argument with her father the king. She leaves the palace and goes to the forest, where she meets an hunter. The hunter proposes to marry her if she doesn't cook a leaf for him. She says she will marry him if he doesn't laugh at her four breasts. One day, she cooked the leaf, then left for the forest. She got lost, fell down, and turned into a river. Her father the king celebrated because his kingdom got a river instead of a four-breasted daughter. A beautiful little milk jug is from Acholi people of Uganda. A large mask with the king on his horse, his son and the son of defeated king, was a symbol of victory, which was worn on the head by the Yoruba people for ceremonies. There are other paintings done by Senegalese artists, and the shelf with tiny items was from Morocco. The large white mask originated from Burkina Faso, and in the garden on one side of the roof is a sculpture of a Acholi herdsman made by John Adochemene. Inside one of the roof rooms, there are paintings on the ceiling and the wall, which were taken from the textile of Kuba and Bokolochini, which are mud crafts from Mali. The other sculpture with many heads is from Bambara in Mali. An artist and inventor of new techniques of artwork, Michelangelo, is the son of the famous artist Expedito, whose artwork is featured in most of the monuments in Kenya. He gives an account on the direction that artwork has taken in the current generation, especially in Africa.
The kind of art that we do today, if Africans would have followed, or if there wasn't that break where colonialism came in and Africans lost focus, they now tended to follow what comes from the West. If you'd like to know how the African would have been today, you can be able to see it from the works we've done, because all of them are originals. That's why you'd come even here at African Heritage and look at all the artifacts that are here. Try to compare them with what is being done today. These are far much more better. Africans don't value art because it's something we live with every day, and it's nothing strange to us. So when white people come, they see value in what we do, but us Africans, we don't. That's why when I do a piece and price it, an African comes to buy it, they would say it's expensive. But they don't know that I've put in a lot of effort. And part of it's because they don't understand the value.
In the past, Kenyan communities also had their own forms of art and ornaments, which they used to serve different purposes and had great significance in them. Anything in the human environment has its unique meaning.
Art is in everything that we do or that is around us. It's all about our creativity. So how I would put it is that all the art that we have, even in terms of fashion, in terms of interiors, furniture, there is a lot that hasn't evolved.
Kenyan art is not left out in the furnishing of the African Heritage House, and they are featured in both the interior and the exterior, including the poolside. The poles on the ceiling are Boridi poles from Lamu. In the living room, there is a comb sculpture on the coffee table, which was carved by artist Expedito. In the same room, there is a double couch, which is originally a traditional baby cradle, which was used by the people of Lamu. The tables were originally coffee grinders, which were used to grind coffee and grains, but they were turned into tables by removing the grinding stones, which were replaced by the trays, which now act as the tabletops. On one of the tables, there are ostrich eggshells, which are put together with round hairballs removed from the stomach of a lion by the Maasai warriors. The balls were used by the Maasai people as a proof of heroism after killing a lion. The gourds from Kamba and other communities have patterns which hold unique meanings to the communities of origin.
These are gourds which were used all over Africa as containers for milk and for beer. And this is from the Kamba, who were the most proficient gourd carvers in Kenya. This represents Mount Kilimanjaro. This is an old design from the 1800s from the Kamba. And these are the Kamba ancestral creatures around Mount Kilimanjaro, which they thought was their ancestral home. So there's a lot of versions of this particular design, which was, if you'll go to the museum, the oldest Kamba gourd was in about 1880. This is another one of the same idea. Mount Kilimanjaro, ancestral creatures around the mountain. And so you have gourds from the Maasai, from the Pokot, from Meru, from Mali, from Cameroon, all here. Now they've been taken over by plastic, so hardly anybody in Africa is making these anymore.
Some of the Alan's first collections include wooden containers from northern Kenya.
This was the first thing I collected from Kenya. It's for holding milk, and it's carved by women only, and they just use a broken spear to carve it. Can you imagine? And a spike to hollow it out, making it that thin and curving it, because it uses a gourd as a prototype, but it's wood. This is a phenomenal work of art, to think that it could be carved in that graceful and elegant. And this has been repaired, making staples out of a cooking pot, aluminum cooking pot. It's where the cracks were, and then filling it so it doesn't leak. This is another Turkana container. This is made of a camel stomach. As I said, they use everything in their environment. This is for holding fat for cooking. So they take the stomach of the camel, and they shape it in the hot sand, and then they fit it with a stopper. This is like the kitchen for the Turkana woman.
Other materials collected from the region were carried on camel backs by the Turkana people. The curtain hanging above the staircase was made by an artist from Uganda. It tells a story of a warrior queen of Giriama people in Kenya. The beams on the ceiling are painted in typical style of Lamu houses, and the garden in the bathroom has a water tap made of marble and granite from local sources. The wall at the end is based on the Maasai shield designs that gives it a unique beauty of the Kenyan tradition. Joseph Mutisia is one of the workers at African Heritage House who also have love for the traditional art.
So for hiyo muda niko hapa, nimeona vitu mingi zenye nilikuwa naona zamani kwetu, lakini sasa hakuna. Lakini here we have them. Na nikiangalia naona sitaendelea na kupotea kama sitawekwa mahali sio zinaweza kuwa inaonekana. Kwa sasa ukienda huko manyumbani huko utasipata, lakini hapa siko kwa wana. Yaani huwa na enjoy sana kuona watu wakikuja kuona hizi vitu. Kwanza zile na watembeza na nasikia mzuri sana mtu akiona kitu anasema oh hii niliona kwetu, ama hii ni akisikia ni ya kwao anastuka, hii ni ya kwetu na mwanakana sioni. Alafu anasikia historia yake vile Alan anaeleza. So huwa anazieleza mzuri sana. Hizo vitu ziko hapo.
Kenyan art has great impact on the society and way of life, a thing which needs to be restored.
Ile kitu naweza sema sana sisi wa Kenya tungetafuta namna ya kupreserve hizi vitu, na kama zinaweza anza kurutishwa tena sienee sana, ziendelee kurudi tena kama vile zilikuwa zamani, ingekuwa mzuri. Hata ukiangalia zile vitu za kisasa ni imitation ya hizi bakuli ya kukulia siku hizi, naona iko na metallic. Zamani walikuwa wanatumia kivuyu, wengine walikuwa na kava miti wanaitumia kama bakuli. So anaona kutumia mti ni kama kitu kwa nyuma sana.
Other samples of original artwork from Kenya includes the Luo traditional stool, which only elderly men were allowed to sit on. It was forbidden for women and children as a sign of respect for the elderly people. The shield hanging on the pole is also from Luo, made of cowhide. It was used during wars to stop weapons. Other shields from the Maasai were made of buffalo skin, which are much harder than the cow skins and can stop a spear. Traditional trays were used to carry grains, and on the roof ceiling there are large hanging fish traps which were used to catch fish and lobsters in the Indian Ocean. And the smaller ones were used to catch fish in Lake Victoria. There is a large stringed harp called Bokongo from the Kisii people of Nyanza. The furniture on the veranda are made of papyrus tree by the Luhya community from Western Kenya. This type of furniture still exists up to this moment. The famous Tinga Tinga tales featured in television programs derived from artistic drawings by Edward Saidi. He started doing this kind of art using ceiling boards, which were used in the pre-colonial houses. His first paintings were done using bicycle paints, but later on they were developed to a more advanced decorations. Other work of art from Kenya are also found in the Nairobi National Museum, including wired arts which are commonly done by kids, but they have great aspiration to the current technological development. Others are wooden bikes, catapults, string balls, bicycle wheel, a jiko, among others. There is a great collection of gourds from all over Kenya which is placed to make a beautiful shape. In another gallery, there are shields and spears. And on the other side are traditional musical instruments like the horns, harps, other string instruments, and a jua game board from Nyanza and Western Kenya. On the other side, there is a seat of agony which symbolizes unscrupulous leaders who promote brutality in the community. Back to the Heritage House, there is a tree in front of the house known by the locals as wedding tree. This is because the tree is where several couples have gotten married. Apart from being a wedding tree, the tree has a great importance to the Maasai people who use its branches to light fire for ceremonies and its leaves as medicine. Of all the sculptures and jewelries featured in the African Heritage House, there is a unique one standing by the poolside made by John Adochemene. This is part of his mass communication series that he started in 1980s with a degree of technological age like typewriters, microphones, and old telephones. With the emergence of mobile phones, the artwork is also decorated with evolved mobile phones from the oldest origins to the most current ones. The beauty of Africa depends largely on artwork, but the originality of these arts is disappearing so fast, making the current generation not to understand their foundation. Just a few people today values them.
Watu hupenda sana kuja kupika picha hapa. Wanapenda sana, lakini sana sana utaona wakiingia huko kwa maua. Sasa zile hawashughuliki sana na kupika na hizi vitu kama like Christmas. Haida wakuta wameingia kwa maji. Kama wakimbia pale wangojea ile train ikipita wapigwa picha na train. Huwa wengine wana, lakini kuna wale huwa wanasifaliwa. Sio wote wanaingia. Unaona wanafanya sana. Unaweza na mtu akikuja kuuliza nikitoa hii simama na ni harusi. Ni picha ya harusi. Nataka simama hii na bibi yake. Kishika hivi. Unaona kuna wale wanafanya na kuna wale hawafanyi. Hawanini.
For this beauty to be maintained, there is great need to save African tradition before it is too late.